Thank our crowd again, and for them to be here early like they were, especially with that accident that was out there near Village Avenue, it slowed me up, probably slowed some of you up, slowed other people up. To have this level of crowd in here to start this game, I was really worried about that driving in. And people were fantastic. And I mean, they're into the game. I mean, and just told me out front, this is the second highest for crowd attendance mark we've had. And the last time it was like this was 80-81. And I believe Kentucky was one of the games that was in there, and the arena was bigger. So I love it. I love the way our fans are responding to this. I love the way our students are coming to this. And that's how the program gets built, and that's how the team gets better. Now, obviously, the team's got to practice, they got to improve, all those type of things. But that's how it happens. We have recruits here tonight, just like we do most days and nights. But most importantly, the energy that they are bringing to the team is outstanding. And hopefully our team is bringing them some too, because our team is working to get, chemistry never happens quickly. It takes a long time for it to come. I know I'm not going to go too long. I know I'm not going to hit my 27 minutes. All right, but it takes a while to get, I'm always going to think of it. It takes a while to get that chemistry down. We're trying to do a lot of different things, you know, as a team and playing a lot of different guys. And the bottom line is Georgia Tech is good. He's doing an excellent job with that team. I mean, this is the best team. You can see it. This is the best team he's had in his time there. They're deeper. They're shooting it so much better. They're improving. They're big. You know, we were very, very concerned about not being able to move the zone, move their big guys around. That had to be key for us tonight. And at times we did that. We were good. We had to pull them out of the lane. Banks had 11 blocks going into the game. He had 6 tonight. You know, obviously, both teams have to get better. Both teams will get better, but they have a really good team. But for our team to figure out ways to figure it out during the game, as young as we are and with as many young guys as we had on the court, and with some of the injuries that we were dealing with. Ray hadn't practiced full, and yesterday wasn't even really full since he injured himself a little bit on Friday night. So he didn't have anything really for the last couple of days until yesterday. Christian Brown's battling something. Injury-wise, he wasn't at his normal speed and pace. But we found a way, and I'm proud of the way that we did, and now we got to turn around in a short period of time and get ready for an incredible 3 days of basketball in Maui. Go ahead.
Ant said something about, you said something in the pregame about you wanted to be Georgia's team, and he said that really resonated with them and kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. We're the University of Georgia, right? And that's something that we've got to build, right? And we got a lot of Georgia kids. But like, I'm not from Georgia. I want to be Georgia's team. Right? And I mean, and it's not just because of a job, it's because of the time that you put into it. And that's really, really important. And this is a huge rivalry. It really is. And I also said to them that there are going to be things that will always be so much bigger than you. And a game like this is, right? Because it means so much to the fans on both sides. It means so much to the players on both sides. It means a lot. And that's what we've got to establish here. There's a lot of things that we need to establish that truly we're on the ground floor, more or less, of trying to get to, but you got to be able to build it. And I'm proud of the fact that we have another group of seniors that haven't lost that game, right? They'll carry that forever, right? And there's a lot more left in their careers, but Jordan Harris and Tyree Crump, I know Jordan didn't play, obviously, but they've never lost to Georgia Tech. That's a huge thing. And there's certain things that you want to be able to walk out of here with. And being respected in this state is certainly one of them, huge, as big as any.
Coach, when you look at what your team did tonight against this level of competition, you win the rebounding battle, you've got 4 guys scoring double figures. What did you learn tonight about your team and maybe the depth that it has to play against this level?
Well, the coaches can't come up with, there's a lot of things we got to get better at. I mean, we got to get way better in the low post defense. We gave up too many straight line drives. We just got to keep shoring things up. Our transition at times, transition D was not as good. But they found ways, right? We made cuts. The big thing offensively was that we didn't want to stand. When we stood, okay, we didn't attack the zone very well. We didn't get it to the corners. We didn't get our cutting right. When we cut, when we moved, when we got reversed, when we played through the paint, we did a lot of really good things. So I like that part of it. But defensively, we've got to continue to understand as a bunch of young guys and other guys that haven't played a lot. You know, Ray has played a lot. Tyrese played a lot. Donnell played a lot at Northeastern. But Almanzi and Ty didn't play that much. And then you throw in all those freshmen. They've got to understand the urgency that it takes to get back on defense every time, the urgency that it takes to run the floor every time, and then how competitive, physical, and athletic you've got to be to rebound the ball against good teams. And so those are things we made progress in, but we've got to get a lot better there.
When you talk about finding ways, kind of how much of a part of that is, leading by 8, scoring 35 points in the first half?
What now?
When you talk about finding ways and all that kind of stuff, how much of that is leading by 8 at halftime when Anthony, didn't really have it going in the first half?
Yeah, but the thing about Anthony is he wasn't as aggressive, but you've got to account for him every time. And he'll learn. It's real easy sometimes. Again, that's a happy kid on that court tonight, just like he was on Friday night. And he impacted the game in a lot of different ways. He's learning. I mean, certainly he's projected to be where he's going to be. Certainly he's got tremendous, there's notoriety of him. But I remember what I lead every day with is he's a very young 18-year-old, should be a high school senior, okay, in all honesty, all right? And he's got a lot to learn about what it takes on a daily basis when you're getting the other team's best shot like he's going to get. And he'll learn. But I think that he found different ways to impact it tonight. He's having to do a lot for us, and it doesn't always involve scoring. Sometimes just being there is enough that it'll help. But there's a lot of room for improvement. And as long as he keeps that attitude that he has about improvement, he's just going to keep getting better and better here.
10-15 mark, I think.
Okay, Jeff, and then I'll go there. I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Having coached in places where obviously basketball meant everything, what's it been like coming to this state and trying to build this program where it obviously hasn't been as high profile?
I think it's, you know what? I think it's been energizing. I really do, because like tonight, that's why I come in here and say that. I mean, like I don't try to look out before the game, but I did tonight, and I thought maybe I'm jinxing myself because I hadn't done it all year. Because I was really concerned that we were going to have a really late arriving crowd coming from Atlanta, and the place was jumping. I mean, to me, that's I think to me, you don't lose sight of how important it is to be absolutely concerned, corner it as much as you can. I don't want to say obsessed, but it's somewhere there on how do we build it on a daily basis, not only on the floor, but how do we build the environment. Because I have been where it's been built up. It had to get built up at Marquette, and it had to get rebuilt back at Indiana. So I've been a part of not only big crowds, been a part of the rebuild of that. I think that helps me. And keeps me focused on how important stuff is. But we got a lot of people really helping. We got a lot of people. The marketing team, IMG, the ticket sellers, John Bateman. I mean, we got a lot of people that are really, really working together. Video with Mike Bilbo, all those people, they're working really, really hard to make this a great environment. So when you have that, now that even energizes you that much more that you got team effort to get this to come across. But I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the building of that.
Yes, speaking, going back to Ant here about how he kind of stepped forward there when Rayshawn went out with 4 fouls in the second half. Speak how big that is in his development, and also getting back to Rayshawn about how big he was stepping forward early on when you guys were having so much trouble scoring.
Well, Ray's letting the game come to him. I'll start with Ray. Ray's letting the game come to him, and I was concerned that how rusty was he going to be, because he did some non-contact on Monday, but he didn't do anything contact-wise over the weekend or Monday, and he did some contact yesterday, and he was in a pretty good rhythm from Friday night, and he picked right up because he's not forcing anything. He's letting it come. He's playing with speed. He's playing with aggressiveness. Anthony really doesn't get rattled, right? He's not always playing the way that he needs to play yet, okay? And I understand that, but he's a very, very diligent, want-to-learn guy. He really is. Whether it's the film, he can take it in those film sessions. He understands where it's coming from. He understands why we're pushing, and he figures things out in the game. He really does. And in all honesty, we're not even scratching the surface with him. And I don't mean that that he's doing a good job. We're not even scratching the surface of where he's going to be when it comes to his ability to play with speed, decipher defenses, push the ball, move without the ball. I mean, that one cut he made, that was on him. That cut he made into the lane and got that bucket, that's just from him having to cut and move without the ball all the time. But does it happen all the time in games? No, not yet. So that's part of the growth that he's got to go through. But very few things faze him on that court, and he really, really wants to be a winner, and that's the bottom line. And that's easier said than done. right? And it's 4 games in, but he really wants to be a winner. And we stress that all the time. Mike?
Thanks, appreciate it.
Was I missing you?
Yeah.
Well, man, I'm not looking up.
It's all good, busy guy.
We'll have to go a couple more. I can't have Mike back.
Were there play calls for Anthony when Ray went out at 10-15? I mean, how were you able to get that? I think it was a 10-2 run you guys went on when Ray went out.
There's certain things where we're going to get a downhill drive where, yes, but a lot of it just becomes off the movement of the offense, right? Because they were switching defenses on misses and makes, and we didn't want, early on that bothered us in the game, and we didn't really want to let that bother us, but it did, and we didn't move as well. So some of it, like the play, Severe comes down the lane, he finds Anthony on a cut. He was supposed to replace and go to the other corner, but he cut out of the same corner that he was in, gets a layup, right? So there's some play calls, but much more of it for us is movement, because again, I said this before, and it's so imperative for us. It's got to touch that paint for us to have a success rate. It really does with this team. Yes.
Coach, you've obviously coached Dwayne Wade and Victor Oladipo in your time. How would you compare Anthony to both?
I wouldn't do that. He's 18. He turned 18 August 5th. I wouldn't do that to him, and I wouldn't do that to them. And he's got a lot of really good characteristics, you know. And I didn't compare Vic Oladipo to Dwayne Wade. I mean, there's characteristics that they have. There's certain things that you see, and I think the benefit of me coaching them is having an idea of what it should look like with him. You know, where he should be going with it, you know, what should be coming next, those type of things, but I don't do the comparison thing there.
When you talked about,
I'm sorry.
when you talked about team chemistry in the preseason, you said there were a lot of roles that had yet to be filled.
There still are.
Have you seen some of them begin to get
Yeah,
filled?
that happens. It's natural. It's got to be organic, you know, in your season. And we need competitive practices. A lot of guys want to play, right? And I got a text from an administrator. I didn't even really see this, commenting on how good they were in huddles, you know, how quick they ran to pick each other up. Those are all things that's what you want your culture of your program to be, right? But I'm not really paying attention to that in the heat of battle, right? And for somebody to see that, that's a good sign. I was appreciative of getting that. So that becomes part of chemistry. And but I'm more concerned right now about the urgency that it takes to do the things that you've got to do a lot of to do it better. And the chemistry will come from that.
Looking ahead to Maui, what's your level of excitement for showcasing the program against the likes of Michigan
Oh, it's
State,
tremendous.
Kansas?
I was with Tom Izzo, our first games together as a staff. His first 3 games coaching, the timeline was different than they were in Maui, right? And here he's going, he's bringing a team, I'm bringing a team. This will be my 5th trip there, and 4th as a head coach. I love it. You know, it's Hawaii is incredible. It never is ever going to get old. I don't know anybody could ever think it could get old, but the level of basketball that you have to be at in this, the level of competing that you have to be at. Now, use that term urgency again. The urgency that you have to have in this is unlike anything these guys have ever going to have witnessed to this point in their career.
What do you think showcases like that? What do you think their significance is in it?
I think, you know, I think it's important. I didn't have anything to do with this. So this all goes to administration and John and Bateman and running basketball and Greg McGarity certainly, and the respect that people have for the Georgia program. So like, I can't take credit for us being there at all. But to be able to take your program to a prestigious tournament like that, and then be able to measure yourself against some of those programs that are in there, and see what you've got to do. You know, find ways to win, but see what you've got to do to be able to win long term. You leave there. I've left there losing by 3 or 4 in the championship game to Duke at Marquette. I've left there 1-2. You know, left there underdogs, left there favorites. It didn't make any difference. When you get there, none of it matters. You have got to be at a high level of competition, ability. If you want to succeed in that tournament. And I'm looking forward to that.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Not trying to challenge you, but you did mention how you felt that this was Josh's best team at Georgia Tech.
I do, yeah.
What makes you say that?
Well, they're deeper. They're skilled. DeVoe is really improved. Jose Alvarado is a winner, and obviously he wasn't himself tonight, you know, with what he was dealing with his ankle. Bubba Parham has got tremendous range, tremendous speed and quickness. Banks is improving. He was a key focus for us. When you go to their 4 men, they're bigger, right? They're bigger, they're stronger. They have different ways to win. They've won at NC State. That's not easy. You go on the opening night in the ACC and you find a way to win that game, and they were down early in that game. This was never comfortable till we hit those last 2 free throws to me, right? Just the way that it is. So I think they're doing a really, really good job there. I think that he's building it the way that he wants it. I think he's got guys in there you can tell they're really responding, they're listening. I thought they were really together. Not that they weren't before, but I mean, you really notice it in the floor. So I think he's doing an excellent job.
What kinds of effects does winning or losing games like this have on recruiting specifically?
I'm not sure.
in state?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's better for the current players, right? I think there's such a thing as bragging rights, you know, and I'm not sure, you want them to have moments that they will always look back at. And I didn't understand that when I was a young coach, but I understand that so much more now. And I think this is something like that. You know, when those seniors can say they haven't lost those games, just like last year, that's a big deal. That's something they'll always have, right? And it's all about stacking successes, right? You don't win a championship, you know, right off the bat, but you're working towards it all the time. And so you've got to have some things that you can stack success-wise, but some other things that you can carry with you. And I think games like this do that. So I think it's probably important to the recruiting, but it's far more important to the current players and then to the fans and alums.
Tom, do you like the game being played earlier than
Well,
it has been in the past?
Yeah, and we did it for the students. We did it to the student base. I'd be lying to say that I wasn't shocked that it wasn't picked up by a network, right? I mean, that was a bit of a surprise. But I didn't put any time worrying about that. We just got to go win the game, right? And I think it was really, really important. Did I like doing this before we go to Maui? Probably not, right? Because it would be very easy to get distracted before you make that trip, but we didn't. But this really, the bottom line for us was putting this at a time where both schools' student bases wouldn't be on a break type thing where they could see it.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Coach.